and what does your 2025 look like so far?
Yeah. So, y'all talk numbers or like
Yeah.
GCI volume units? What do y'all? It'll be an $85,000 month for me, which is by far my biggest. Everything just happened to line up at the same time. Not saying I always make $85,000 a month, but it all happened to line up at the same time. Next month and July are also lined up to be pretty solid as well. The goal is 50 transactions, even though I'm probably pacing for 35 to 38 transactions. GCI is about $10,000 a closing, give or take, roughly. And so that's
Right. So you're already in Chick-fil-A territory. Holy cow! In your second year, you're in that range. You're in that range. It was really, really, really. Hey, awesome. Hey, well, we are back, folks. Welcome to another episode of the show. We have a guest here today. I think you're going to really enjoy this. This is Tristen Adams. And Tristen and I, stumbled upon each other on a thread on Facebook, right? I was asking people about powerful habits, and Tristen's answer kind of blew me away. It's like, holy cow, this guy, and he's very early in his career, and he's already formed some really powerful habits and is getting great results. So I said, you know what? I think this is worth a more in-depth conversation. I'd love to learn more. So, Tristen, for people that may not know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? When did you start in real estate, and where is your business at right now? Talking about the spring of 2025.
Yeah. So you want me to start from the top before real estate or during real estate?
Yeah, as far back as you think is relevant, go for it.
Okay. So I'm always I'll start from the top. So I was working at Chick-fil-A like right when I turned 15. I wanted a job at I wanted to and slowly figured out that I wanted to be the youngest operator ever for Chick-fil-A. So the only way to make that happen is you have to get a 4-year degree really quickly. So I did a dual enrollment my junior and senior year, and so I actually graduated high school with my associate's degree so that I could graduate
Uh,
with my bachelor's degree by 19. So then at 19, then I can enroll into the program and then go through the program for 2 or 3 years and be an operator by like 22, 23, right? So I was like, I want to be the youngest. I quickly realized after talking to my operator, a lot of operators, they make, I don't know, somewhere around 350,000 to 550,000, and you can't own another business, and you have to operate under their brand. And so then I was like, well, I can definitely make more than 400,000, 500,000. And then I also wasn't in love with the fact I have to do everything under their brand, and I couldn't do my own business. Like I was, I just, I didn't like the lid that they put on that. So I quickly decided, all right, well, Chick-fil-A is not for me. Totally cool. And my wife and I were like pretty much paycheck to paycheck, but it was with the idea of like, okay, eventually I'll be an operator. I quickly realized that I didn't want to be one. So my next door neighbor had a open position, a sales position at a jewelry shop. And so I was working, and it paid really well for like selling jewelry. So I was working from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. So I was working overnight, kind of crazy. And
Holy cow.
it made really good, but then we quickly realized like there was no way out. So funny enough, I didn't realize this until about 2 months ago. What I got into this like deep. I'd never been depressed, but I got into like this depression type thing because it just felt like I
Right.
had no like I was stuck in this job. I was making so much. I was making 75 grand a year, but I was making so much money that I couldn't leave to go somewhere else and make the same money. So I was stuck.
I got
So
you.
like, the other jobs I was looking for were like 60 to 65 grand, and we really couldn't afford a cut like that. So I was like, well, I'm stuck. And it's like this kind of sucks, and like this hopelessness is like depression. Like Alex Hormozy, talk about him. Depression comes from a lack of options. I just didn't have options. So
Yeah.
then I quickly decided I was like, well, if we ever wanted a house, what's the math? We can save up like $500 a month for 12 months and 6 grand. Maybe that's half a down payment. So in 2 years we can put a down payment. I was like, dude, this sounds insane because like house prices will be more. Um, so then I had realized I had paid for a real estate course the year before and it expired in June. And so May 2 years ago, funny enough, May 2 years ago, I had realized I had 30 days left to complete this course. And so I was like, all right, well, I might as well just finish the course. I was like, whatever. And then I finished the course and I was like, well, I might as well take the test. So I took the test. And then I was like, well, I might as well sign up for the brokerage. I mean, I have a license. And then I had to pay like my board dues and then $100 a month for the fees. And like we really did not have $100 a month. And so I was like, well, I got to sell a house. Like I don't even know what that means, but like well, I'll do
ASAP.
something. So then I'm working 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. and I'm going to bed by 4 a.m., waking up at 11 a.m. And I would like cook breakfast or do whatever I need to do. But by 12, I was like, all right, from 12 to 4, like that's all I have to work. I'm just gonna see what I can do to. I don't even know what I literally had no clue what a real estate agent did. Like I mean, so literally. And funny enough, I had a productivity coach, and they just said, call for sale by owners because it's free, it doesn't cost any money, and you just call them, and maybe they want to list with you. They've never called a for sale by owner in their life. They just said that's free, and they're motivated. So I was like, sounds good. So I'm on the phones. I sound atrocious. I suck, like absolutely suck. And my wife's in the other room, and she's like, that sucked. Like, try another script, or she like we slowly tweaked a script where it actually started working. I started landing some people, and
Okay, so on your own, so the productivity coach, bless her heart, said, you know what, maybe for sale by owner might work. Nothing else is going to work for you. You don't have the time or the budget for it. Maybe for sale by owner. Good luck to you. And you just pounded the phone until you figured something out.
yeah, and dude, my wife's like the superhero in the background that nobody knows, and I need to tell everybody more. But again, she's literally in the other room because she used to work from home, and she would be like, "Dude, that was trash. Like, there's no way I'm ever using you as my realtor if that's what." And so we slowly are tweaking the script until eventually she's like, "You know what? It'll at least do something." It's like then people started staying on the phone longer and then talking longer. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm on to some." And then a month in, I got my first listing appointment, and it was terrible. Like I just said he was interviewing other agents, and I was like, I mean, are you open to another appointment? But it didn't even sound that good. I was like, well, I could do a listing appointment too. Are you available? Like, it just sounded so terrible. But he was like, yeah,
Okay.
sure. And I was like, whoa. He said yes. Okay, so it's just a numbers game. And so I was like, well, I eventually you don't call enough. And so then I had a listing appointment scheduled, and this is where my productivity coach comes in play. I call her and I was like, I have a listing appointment. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does a listing mean? What is like, how do I even sell this house? And she's like, I was like, what do I say?
Yes.
So then she was like, well, look up this video, watch this video, do this, and watched, I mean, an unbelievable amount of videos. Like while I'm at work, by the way, while I'm at work, 7 p.m. to 3, I'm just watching videos. I'm not even like taking my call. Like I'm just watching. So then
That's
prepare
funny.
for the listing, and then I actually go. I'm competing against two other realtors who are willing to do it for 1%, and
Right.
I pretty much just went off of like straight energy, just vibes. And so um, th immediately he walks in and he's like, how long you been doing this? And I was like, this is my first one. I was like, doesn't that scare the crap out of you? Just like I had read the book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He said just label the
Yeah.
emotion. And they were like, yeah, it does kind of scare me. And I was like, dude, I would be shivering in my timbers right now. And we kind of laughed about it. And I was like, I do know this though. Nobody's gonna work harder. Like I told him, like I went through the whole thing, like so then it got down to it, and he said, he's like, well, these other two people are willing to do it for 1%. So can you do it for 1%? And I said, no. Any more questions? And then he was like, oh, okay, let's do it. So then he signed up, got my first listing, first appointment, 6%. I was like, all right, I'm built for this. Like, I don't even know. So then I got the listing and I called my productivity coach and I said, he signed the listing, but like, what do I do? Like, how do I actually list a property? And so she's like, put on the MLS, get a sign, door knock the neighborhood, open house. Like, so we go through that whole process. But eventually got my first listing, and it didn't close for a few months. And then I realized I was able to help this guy. I knew what I was doing, so I called the next people, and I was like, "Here's the background. He was going to take an offer for 380, and his house is worth more." I was like, "I can make you more money after paying me." That was eventually like the pitch. And then I realized we had an offer. We went under contract for him netting 392. So I made him 12 grand more after paying me. So that's my new pitch to people for sale
I
value.
love it.
Calling all the for sale, like, look, I'm not to make this guy. I'm so excited on the phone. They can just tell. Most people they don't want to list, but I'm just pounding them. Eventually somebody says yes, I list their property. Another person says yes, I list their property. So then I have like three listings. Another one goes. So I slowly started to stack up money, which what I thought
All
was
all for sale by owners. All for sale by owners. Okay.
okay. So I started to stack up some listings and some money, and this was just for a down payment for a house because we live in an apartment. Still do actually, funny enough. But then I was like, whoa, you can make like pretty good money in real estate. So I was like, I want to quit my job. I hate this job. And I'm still working from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then immediately going to the gym, getting ready and going to work. And then we really did not even see each other, my wife and I. We had a date night Thursday nights, and then Saturdays I took completely off from work and from real estate. Other than that, like we did not see like it was just I told her like,
Oh,
look, this is how we get out of this. Like there's no way out. This is it. So and she was super supportive, and she still is. And so then come around December, I have a buyer that's looking for something. And so this is where I started to try door knocking. They're looking for something very specific, and I know a neighborhood. So I door knocked the whole neighborhood. Just finished reading the book Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt.
great
And
book.
so the whole theme of that book is just one more call, right? So I literally had just finished it. And it was actually New Year's Eve. I figured what better time to go door knocking than when everyone's home, like celebrating, and there's big parties.
Wow.
Maybe I knock on the door and there's So I was like, yeah, I'm going to, and plus they'll be like, oh, this guy's a hustler. He's door knocking on New Year's Eve. So I just thought, so I door knocked just about half the neighborhood, and I was like, all right, well, it's done. I need to go to my own New Year's Eve party. I just finished the book, one more call. So I was like, I'm gonna do one more door. Knock on that door, like, hey, you looking to buy, sell, and invest? I have, whatever. And they're like, no, but the person up the street is. So I was like, I got to go, but I start running. And so then I go up to that street. It's way at the end at the cul-de-sac, knock on the door. They're not home. And then they answer through the Ring camera. So I pitch them through the Ring camera. And then they
Oh,
already said, we
wow.
already have an agent. And I was like, look, that's totally cool. I have a buyer before you sign any papers, like just to see if it makes sense. So I show up in person. And then I was like, if it works out for this buyer, we can go like that. If it doesn't, I can show you what I can do to sell your house on the market. Like now I'm having a little bit more confidence. I have some more scripts. And she's like, awesome, sounds good. Call the buyer. They're not interested. I was like, awesome. We can just put it on the market. So she signed up and like ready to rock and roll. So I got my first door knock. So now I'm like, okay, door knocking, kind of works
Can
here.
work. Can work.
And so then 4 months later, April 7th of last year was my last day working. And now it's just full-time real estate since then.
Wow, holy cow. And so that was, I mean, that there's a lot in there to unpack, Tristan.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So that's a crazy story. And just the clarity of vision that you've got, because you had the opportunity to go on a career path, corporate, and Chick-fil-A is very unique in their model. I will say that, right? They've got kind of the operator model, they own all the stores, but they have, these kind of, kind of owners, partners that they set the stores up with. And you heard that the earning potential is kind of capped. It's capped at $500,000, right? And you're like, but you seem to have had a bigger vision than that. It didn't fit in your vision, right? And you're kind of, a teenager, at this age. So why did you say no? So from that very beginning, I'm like, there's something there, right? Because you had this opportunity to get in this career path, corporate career path, to be an operator of one of the most popular restaurants in the world, right? What made you say no to that? Because I know a lot of people, if they saw that, put your head down for a few years and you might be able to make multiple six figures. I think a lot of people would say yes to that opportunity. Why'd you say no to that opportunity? I'm interested.
Um, it really came down to like you're capped. Like I hate the idea of a lid. I like just like free market, right? And so and if they would allow me to open up multiple stores, like maybe we'd have a different conversation, right? Like I'm talking 10, 15 point, like then I can start to really, but if I'm stuck to one store, there's only so many people that can live in one city. So you're really only ever, and you can't start another business. So like you are stuck to how many people that you can get to keep coming back to this one store. So you can optimize it and that would be very fun, but it'd be very fun for the first 2, 3 years until I've completely capped that restaurant. And then it's like, now what? Obviously I'm very accomplishment driven. So then at some
Yeah.
point, what is there to accomplish with this store? So I'm done. And so also I didn't like it was not a guarantee to get that store. So I don't want to make it seem like I was for sure. You had to go through this long
It's
program, fly across the
competition.
US.
It's
Yeah.
competition. Like they don't
You got to
open
fly
that many
across
stores, actually.
yep. You got to fly across the US for like 3 to 5 years. And there's hundreds of thousands of applicants. And like, even if you're the best, maybe somebody knows somebody that knows, like, I just didn't, I was like, if I go pave my own way, I don't even know what it is at that time. I had no clue what I was going to do. I was like, if I do it, but I could make more.
Gotcha. So you had that, you saw that road. He's like, you know what? I'd rather bet on myself. It's kind of what it came down to. I'm gonna bet on Tristan. Like I bet long term, I'm gonna be a better bet than just kind of like hanging on to that rocket ship, which is Chick-fil-A. Instead of kind of hanging my hat there, I'm kind of gonna bet on myself.
Mhm.
I love that. So, what does your business look like today? Those were the kind of the rough and tumble beginnings, working kind of two jobs, nights, and then calling real estate during the. That's a crazy way to get started. A lot of people get started somehow, kind of that way, right? Real estate is they're kind of dipping their toe into real estate, and it's hard to let go of that job. What are you? So you're a full time agent now, and what does your 2025 look like so far?
Yeah. So, do y'all talk numbers or like
Yeah,
GCI volume units? What do y'all talk about?
whatever you want to share. What does it look like, so far in 2025?
So far, th this month is my biggest month by far, and it's funny because it's exactly 2 years after I decided like I might as well take the test, right?
Wow.
So I'm gonna end this so long as we close tomorrow. So long as every clear to close, we're all good to go. It'll be an $85,000 month for me, which is by far my biggest. Everything just happened to line up at the same time. Not saying I always make $85,000 a month, but it all happened to line up at the same time. Next month and July are also lined up to be pretty solid as well. The goal is 50 transactions, even though I'm probably pacing for 35 to 38 transactions. GCI is about $10,000 a closing, give or take, roughly. And so
Right. So you're already in Chick-fil-A territory. Holy cow. In your second year, you're in that range. You're in that range, which is really, really, really impressive. I love that. And your business now, is it coming from the same sources that you started with? Is it for sale by owner, door knocking? What does your business look like right now?
Funny enough, this month is I closed, I think, on my first referral. So that was one of them. Two of them, crazy. So here's another one. I had door knocked this whole neighborhood, and one person had opened the door. They spoke Spanish. I speak enough to make someone laugh, but like not enough to close someone on real estate. So I call a Spanish speaking buddy of mine, and she translates for me, like literally at the
Oh,
door,
wow.
and they're looking to sell. And so then I was like, well, let's set up a listing appointment. So we go through a listing appointment. It takes about 3 hours because I had to say something, she had to say it to him, he had to say it back to her and back to
That's
me.
hilarious.
So then we ended up getting the business. And so then since I had that one listed, I cold called the whole neighborhood and said, hey, we have this house listed. Have you thought about buying, selling, or investing? And then somebody was like, yeah, we have. We looked at houses. And I was like, well, no, funny enough, I actually have a buyer for your house, legitimately, because they had toured that other house that we had listed. They just didn't like the lot. But if I could find one with a better lot, they would buy it. So I was like, all right. So I call them on a Wednesday, show up on a Thursday. It's under contract on a Friday, never even listed, like just signed papers.
Wow.
And then
Ready
now
to
they're
go.
home.
Boom.
Yeah, now they're homeless. So now I got to find them a new house. So we closed on both of those earlier this month.
Love it.
Um, and then the one from last week was a for sale by owner, and the one from tomorrow is for sale by owner.
I got you. So you're still, just tilted towards prospecting, right?
For sure, for
Prospecting is
sure.
still your main activity, your main source of business. And of course, the referrals will come in because as you build a bigger book of business, of course, the referrals are going to come in. But you're still 100% prospecting based. So walk us through a day in the life of Tristen right now. What is your prospecting schedule? Because I think one of the things that holds a lot of people back is that they don't know how much effort it takes. They don't know the amount of work that it can take. So if someone wants to achieve your level of production, which is an impressive level of production, what does your schedule look like? Because you're doing two pretty, time intensive activities, calling for sale by owners and then door knocking. How do you split? How do you balance that?
So typical day, I'm gonna start from like the top because I didn't realize how impactful this was until it was impactful. I used to wake up at like 6:30, then 6, maybe like 7:30 to maybe 8, depending on the. I would just wake up whenever. I was pretty consistent about prospect. Like I was like, I will at least do 1 hour prospecting but like I would just wait. Now I wake up at 5:30 every morning. The second the alarm goes off, I'm literally out of the bed, dressed, and immediately off to the gym. And so then I go to the gym, come back, make breakfast. We'll typically read and then start the calls right at 8. Like I do a little bit of a to-do list if I have a second, and then start my calls right at 8. And so those calls will either be for sell by owners, if there's like some new ones, sometimes they don't populate. If not, then it's circle prospecting, which is like I have my own listing, and so I go around the whole neighborhood, calling the neighborhood, seeing if they have a buyer for that. Well, then it starts a conversation. Maybe they've thought about selling, and maybe they've thought about relocating, or maybe I have a buyer who's looking for something specific. So I look, okay, so that's 1 hour prospecting and I'm done. I don't care how many contacts, I don't track contacts. I don't track, I probably don't track enough. Honestly, I know my data is probably bad, but I just 1 hour, once I'm done, I'm done. Like I'm excited that I did it. I'm excited I show up. Um, I get a weird thrill from it. Like I enjoy it, but I hate it. Like I never want to get up and do it. I never want to do it every single day. I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this again. It's a fight. Like that never goes away. But like you really crave it at the same time because like once you do it, you're like really excited that you did it. It's
The
a weird
wins.
feeling.
You crave the win, right? You crave the
Yeah.
like the achievement.
Yeah. And so then the next hour from 9 to 10 is follow up. So the first hour is calling people I don't know. The next hour is calling people I already know and just, you know, top of funnel, bringing them down slowly until eventually they're ready to buy, sell, or invest or whatever it is. And then after that, I have a call with all the agents that I coach or that work with me. And then I have like a lunch, or I'll take my first appointment at 1 o'clock. And then I'll have another appointment at maybe 3 or 5. And these are like FSBO previews or circle prospecting. Hey, let me just shake your hand, introduce myself. And then if I have nothing lined up, then I'll just door knock from 4 to 7.
Oh wow, on a daily
And
basis.
some
So
and intermittently, I'll obviously do admin work or like social media stuff, but that's like the big nuts and bolts of it.
I gotcha. So, I mean, there's a phrase in there I didn't expect. There's a group of agents you coach. You're coaching agents. Well, I mean, you probably should because, like you said, a lot of, I mean, and I don't want to knock coaches. A lot of the coaches out there have not picked up the phone and called, or at least not done it in a really long time. And not knocking coaches, it's true coaches. I know you guys are in the audience. If because when someone, you can tell when someone has picked up the phone and called, and actually, had like a back and forth with a FSBO or it expired, or even a certain prospect call, right? You can always tell. Too many coaches have just not done the work, or have not done it like this decade, right? So I'm glad. But what does that look like? I mean, do people like come up to you? Is this your brokerage? You're helping out your brokerage, helping out your friends? What do you mean you're coaching agents, every day?
So funny enough, I think I've only reached out to one or two of them. The other have just called like I post all the time on Facebook, or I what the first person I was actually on a podcast, and somebody had listened to the podcast and just said like, hey, I really like what you're doing. I'm kind of in that same like I'm in that same situation, like I that resonated with me. How do I get out of this? And so I talked and wondered what her goals are and like how could I help, um and then she joined, and I was able to help her pretty good. And so then it's just like a coaching call every so last year. It's a pretty cool win. So last year she did one transaction, and within 90 days of following the same regiment that I did, and obviously showing up to coaching calls, she had closed on three, and then had two active listings and two active buyers. So like
Holy cow.
her business completely turned upside down. And like I really love that portion. And I'm not claiming to be the best coach ever in the world. There's probably better than me, but I do know what I know, and that is I can call for sale by owners, door knocking, circle prospect to a fairly high level.
I gotcha. Not, and that's wild. And Tristen, I mean, was there anyone coaching you? I mean, because this productivity coach
Yes.
seems to have
Yeah.
given you a little bit of an idea, right? Not and helped you fill out the paperwork. Again, valuable activity. Not saying it's not, but where did you get your advice? Who did you bounce ideas off of? Where'd you get your inspiration? Where'd you get the tactics?
Yeah, so obviously it's not me. I don't want to ever claim like I just know everything. So one, I obviously read a lot of books. I'll listen to a lot of podcasts. Like that's a non-negotiable for almost anyone, I believe. But then that productivity coach was awesome at getting me jump started, but they really did not know how to grow the business that I wanted to grow. They were completely referral based and SOI, which is incredible. I'm excited for them. I'm young and I don't have a referral. Like no one I know wants to buy or sell. So like I need to go find some people, or I don't know enough to send me referrals. Like right, like get. And I'm sure I could be proven wrong. I'm sure I have a big enough database. Like we can get into all
For
that.
sure.
I wanted now money, so
Yeah.
eventually, I got to the point where I started closing more than this productivity coach, and she said, "Honestly, you've outgrown me. I really can't help." And so, love her to death. She's the greatest person ever. And so then, found someone else. Name is Jason Shimpolis, Jessica Wade. They've completely changed my life. They they've taken like what I was already doing. So imagine like a wagon with square wheels, right? Like I was going to pull the wagon across the finish line with or without anyone, and they just made the wheels round. So they've given me systems, they've given me help with role playing or what to say or how to ask questions, where to point me in the right directions, who to talk to, and they've really helped me make me more efficient.
I gotcha. So you as you've kind of grown, you've sought out like bigger and better advice, like better role models, better coaches. I love that because I think it's useful. Like having a coach. I've had a bunch of coaches throughout my career, and my needs changed. I haven't had the same coach, as I've been in real estate for 15 years now. Like I did not have the same need 15 years ago. Did not have the same coach from 15 years ago, right?
Right.
My business has matured and my needs have really, really, really changed. So, Tristen, I think you've probably already noticed this. You're kind of different than a lot of second year real estate agents, right? Your production numbers are just off the charts. It's great. What market are you in? What's your home market?
Atlanta. That's probably the
Atlanta.
easiest. If you really know Lake Lanier in Georgia, like that's where I'm really near,
I
but
got you. Okay, so
most
it's
people
like a
don't.
suburb of Atlanta, Metro Atlanta.
Northeast of Atlanta.
Okay, I got
Some
you.
people
Great.
know
So,
Gainesville, Georgia. I'm near Gainesville, Georgia. Some people
okay.
don't. Buford, maybe.
Okay, awesome. So you're in that area. Your second year of real estate. You're absolutely killing it. Why do you think a lot of agents are nowhere near where you're at? Like, what do you think is the difference? Do you feel that they lack information? Do you feel that they lack skills? Do they lack motivation? Why do you think so many and a lot of agents fail in their second year? They kind of get through the first year closing one transaction, and that's not that strange. Closing maybe one deal, maybe two deals as a part-timer, and then eventually the fees catch up to them and they're out of the game within 24 months, maybe within 36 months, right? Like, what do you feel is the difference between your typical second year agent and what you've been able to accomplish?
See, I think that's a really good question, but it's almost impossible to give a one size fits all. So I'm just looking at the people that I've been able to help. Um, like for example, the one who did one deal last year, like she was doing the work. She just had nobody to help her with scripts or role play with her or help her be more efficient or the systems to become more like. So that was her problem, and she didn't know that was her problem until like we were able to diagnose that, and then completely flipped. Another guy who's now absolutely crushing it as well. He did some production last year, and now he's on trying to do more. His problem, he wasn't doing the work. Like he was just being out flat lazy. And so then just directly telling him like, hey, this should be your new schedule. Do whatever you want with your life, but like I believe if you want to change, like this should be your new schedule. And we slightly tweaked it. Obviously, his schedule's not me exactly mine. Like that's totally cool. That's not what I'm saying. But wake up at the same time, do something physical, do something spiritual, and then 1 hour prospect and 1 hour follow up, and then your life will change. And like just real simple. And then so since he's been doing that, he's had so many more buyers, some under contract, some closings, and so that you can't really give a one side like do this.
Gotcha. 100%. So, but let's talk a little bit about those two cases. I think that covers a lot of what people are missing. So one of the agents was doing a lot of activity. They were doing a lot of things. They were probably making a lot of calls. They might have been even knocking on a lot of doors. They just were having zero results from it. Right. It sounds, that's what it sounds like, that first agent.
Give
So
or take.
they were doing activities. They just were doing them poorly, probably, right? And they probably weren't saying the right things, right? So that's, I mean, I think that describes a big bug because, a lot of agents are very hardworking people. They have a natural tendency to action. They want to get stuff done, but they do a lot of activity. They just don't do it the right way. They don't have anyone to tell them, hey, you're doing it wrong, right? You kind of figure this out a little bit on your own. You kind of you try different things. You kind of figure it out. Not everyone's able to figure that out, right? They might not come from a sales background. They might not know what they just don't know what they don't know. And then you had someone that just wasn't putting in the work. They just weren't talking to enough people. Like maybe they had some skills. Maybe they had some what were the kind of skills. But I would argue that covers a really good chunk of what people lack. They're either doing a lot of activity and just not getting any results, or they're just not doing enough. They're
Yeah.
just not doing enough. They're not putting in the work, right? So, I mean, I think that's a really good answer, actually, right? Because I think that covers a ton of people that do it. So let's drill down a little bit, get a little bit more tactical, because I know people are going to want to know this. So let's get down to like the tools. You already broke down your schedule. You call, for sell by owners. You're doing the circle. You go out and door knock. What do your tool set look like? What's the dialer? Where do you get your data? Let's get tactical. And if you're willing to share that, I'd love to hear
Yeah.
what your tech stack looks like.
So when I had first started, it's very important to know I literally just went to Zillow and pressed buy and then looked where I wanted to look and then unclicked off of all the agents listed posts and then just did owner posted. It's free. And then I had a piece of paper. I still actually prefer this for my FSBO process because I'm used to it. Write down the names or the numbers, then the addresses, and then their names if I get it, and follow up like that. That's pretty simple. But then for circle prospecting, you start to talk to a ton more people real quick, and that's through Espresso Agent, the best dialer. I mean, actually, I've gotten in contact with the CEO, incredible dude. Like this guy is sharp, and what makes them different than like Red X is, and he actually can't tell anyone the secret sauce. But there's two different things that Red X has not figured out. That once they do, then they might be Espresso Agent, but until then, Espresso Agent will just trump them in so many different ways. So it's this data that's perfect. I mean, every time because normally we have these dialers and like you call and it's like, "Hey, what's up, John?" And they're like, "John, my name's Shanna from Washington." Like, and so it's really efficient calling because every single number is going to be correct. I mean, maybe 1 in 100 is not. And
Oh, wow.
then the service it makes it real easy to go through so many numbers all at the same time. And then once I feel like this is a solid lead, like somebody like I would legitimately follow up with, they actually may need some real help from it. I write them down on a piece of paper, and then after the call session, I will upload them into my follow-up boss, which I've just recently brought on, and I think that's incredible.
Cool.
I don't use it to its fullest extent. I literally just use it to put them in buckets and then knowing when to follow up with them, whether it's a 1 week, every month, every quarter, once a year, and that's all I need it for at this moment. And eventually, I'll become better and more robust at it. I have the Pro Zoom because I host the coaching calls. If you want to get really tactical, I have the Pro. I pay for the Pro Zoom. What else is? I think that's honestly it.
Awesome. No, it's good. Simple is good. Simple scales. I like
I'm
that. I
so
love it.
frugal.
So,
I'm so frugal.
yeah. No, 100%. And I think you have to be. I almost wish that a lot of agents, first year agents, they didn't let you use your credit card. I almost wish you had like a block on it. You couldn't, buy your way, like buying leads and buying this and buying that. So it sounds like you had a lot of success. You didn't even have a CRM. Like you didn't even buy the
No,
CRM until later. Like you led with revenue, right? Like revenue first, and then you might buy some of the tools that you need.
right.
So I think that's the right approach to do it. Resource constrained, right? When you are resource constrained, you get creative, you get resourceful, right? And you make a lot of better decisions when you have like a little bit too many resources. It's just very easy in real estate to feel you're making progress by spending money. It's very easy to feel like you're making progress just by handing out your credit card to people. And I think if you don't have that, I think you actually get a little bit more creative with it. So another question I know is going to come from the audience because I know my people. So Tristen, you're making a call. You connect with a for sale by owner. I want to talk about this with for sale by owner with Circle, and I want to talk about a door knocking too. You
Yeah.
have a good connection with them. What's the process after that? You have a good conversation. It sounds impressive. Is it preview appointment and then relentless follow up? What does your follow up and conversion process look like with a for sale by owner?
So I do not list their property. Just like I don't know if this is backwards. So this is one of the things I had square wheels and got circle like that got put. So my first full year when I was in real estate, I was with Keller Williams, and so then no one had taught me. No one knew. So it was just go out and figure it out. So I would pitch every person on the phone. I would just pitch them like hard pitch and yes, no. Eventually, it's a numbers game. So you'll get somebody that says like, yeah, just come by. That was my first person. And then the what slowly warped into like what now and now it's a cranking game is I don't try to pitch them. Like I call them and then I preview the property. I literally do not mention listing their I don't even mention selling it. I don't do anything. I literally help them sell. I said maybe you should put a for sale sign at the front of the neighborhood and draw people in and some people are even doing like flat fee listings. Like I'm literally trying to help them sell their property. And have you tried door knocking? And this is the flyers I would do. And whatever it is that's your first photo sucks. I would try the different first photo to bring whatever it takes to help them sell their property. And then eventually down the line, I mean, like it's very Gary Vaynerchuk type, like jab, 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 hook, right? Look, if you get to the point where you just absolutely hate this, would you just consider me? And they're like, oh, dude, of course. And so then 2, 3 weeks later, and I'm telling you, it's a long follow-up game, but they'll say, Tristen, I'm done. Like, come over. I'm like, cool, I'll be there.
Awesome. Awesome. So you're playing the long game. You used to go straight for the kill. You'd pitch first and then see who said yes. And some people might say yes eventually, right? But now you're playing more of the longer game. You're not going for that first call. You're adding value kind of no matter what. You're meeting them where they are. Because a lot of people think, oh, I want to call the brand new for sale by owners. The brand new for sale by owners have the highest motivation to sell on their own. Like that, it's not like the brand new expireds. Actually, it's very different than that. The first day for sell by owner is the most convinced and motivated person that they're going to sell on their own. So it's kind of, I agree with you. It's not easy to pitch those people, but you're not even trying to do that. You're trying to help them. Hey, I'm on your side here. I'm trying to help you out. How can I help you? I want to go take a look at the property. I want to help you get it sold. Great. So you're building that relationship. You're checking in. And then at some point, 2, 3 weeks, a month down the line, you're just saying, hey, if you get tired of this, I'm here to help. And they're like, of course, just like you're great. I love you. You're not like the other agents. They just want the money and they don't do any work. You actually put in the work, right? I'm not even paying you. And you're already adding massive
But
value.
this is
Imagine if I
where
hired you.
yeah, this is where people get jarred about it. But like I literally don't care if they list with someone else, if they list with me, or if they keep for sale by owner. And so it wasn't until you completely, you can't be 99%. Once you 100% detach from the outcome, that's when the
Love
business
that.
comes to you. I don't know. It's the weirdest phenomenon. And so once like you go into it, they're like, I'm not listing look, I don't care, dude. Like list your property, don't list your property. I'm just seeing what we can do to help. And then there's a different level of conviction in your voice when you 100% don't care.
That's wild. So, and I love that term, disconnect from the outcome. Trust the process, disconnect from the outcome, because the other person can tell. 100%. They're seeing you, they're listening to you, they're like seeing what you're doing. And if you're actually wanting to help them out, that sets you apart from everybody. Like no one's doing that. And again, I do this for a living. I know no one's doing that, right? It's very, very different than when most agents are trying. So you're setting yourself apart automatically. So I love that. And so typical when they actually decide and list with you, is that sales cycle? Is it like 30 days, 60 days? What's a normal process that this is going to take?
It's so much better. I realized whenever I was hard pitching people, it's always about like it's always like, well, you said we could sell for this and we could sell for so much more, and let's sit on the market. I just don't know if it's gonna sell. Like it's just a rough and tough. But once they like call you, like they're willing to listen to your advice. And so,
Wow.
I'm not the I'm probably I don't know if this makes me a good agent or a bad agent, but I only care about their goals. And so like some people are willing to wait 6 months to get their number. I'm willing to wait for 6 months because I have so much in my pipeline. I'm not desperate to sell that house. I don't need that
Yeah.
paycheck. And so if they want to wait 6 months and for their perfect price and maybe in month 5 they want to drop the price, let's drop the price. Now I'm obviously going to advise them that sitting on the market that long does not make you look good. And I'm going to advise them of all the dangers of that. I'm also going to advise them
Of
that
course.
if someone becomes more motivated and then they drop their price, now your price you're worth even less and you'd have been better off getting into the market. I'm going to advise them of everything. But ultimately I'm like, well, look, it's up to you. And then
It is.
they're like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care if someone drops the price. I don't care if someone cuts the throat of the neighborhood. I'm staying here. I'm like, totally cool. What I find out is after 14, 30 days, they're like, whatever we got to do, I'm ready to sell. And so
I
again, I
got you
come into
100%.
it completely detached and then they're ready to it.
I got you. Well, I actually was thinking about before they list. Like, what's the process of first contact to them? Actually getting the listing for the cases for the ones that you list. What does that time frame look like? Right, from first contact to when they actually decide to work with you. Is that like a few weeks? Is that a few months? What's it typically look like nowadays?
Okay. That it can be crazy. So last week, or this Monday, I actually got a listing, called the person on Thursday and got the listing on Monday.
Oh
For some,
wow,
I mean, some people are just like ready. Like I came over for a
gotcha.
preview. She really loved the way I sounded on the phone, and she's like, "Look, I'm already interviewing other agents. You sound like way better than all these other guys on the phone. Can you just do a listing appointment instead?" And I was like, "Sure." Like, I mean,
Okay,
that does not
yeah,
happen all the time, just so y'all know. But like, I was like, "Yeah." I
yeah.
mean, I said, "Screw the preview. Let's just do the." And so we went, and then we did the listing, and then it's coming soon. It's going live next Thursday. And I've had some where I followed up for over a year. I mean, way over a year. Actually, what funny enough, like the fifth or sixth person I ever cold called back in August of 2023, I ended up signing a listing appointment with him, signing the listing with him of September the next year.
Wow.
So like
For self-owner. For
I
self-owner.
for sure, and I will not stop following up with someone until they died, I died, the property sold. I mean, like they will get follow up.
I got you. And what does that follow-up process for the people you don't get that first week or that first month? What does the follow-up process look like? Is that monthly checking with everyone in your database? What does it look like for you?
Um, So for the first few, it's like, hey, do you have any disclosures? Because they're gonna want disclosures, right? It's like, and then it's like, okay, I would change the first photo. The first photo, not good. Like, I'm sorry, it just sucks. Actually, all your photos suck. And I'm gonna be I'm never gonna say the word suck unless they're kind of joking. If they're joking, I will say suck, and I try to be very authentic about it. Um, and I'll let them know, like, hey, I have a photographer. He'll probably charge you very, very little, but professional photography really helps. And I give them the analogy about Facebook Marketplace. If something is better looking on Facebook, you're probably gonna be more inclined to buy. Like stuff like that. And then if that's still on the case, then I'd say, how many buyers have you had that's come through? Oh, it's mostly agents. Oh, no kidding. I didn't know. That's crazy. So then like, oh, well, maybe if you did an open house, have you thought about doing, this is what I would do for an open house. Have you thought about that? Oh, okay. Well, they never end up doing the open house. No problem. All right. So then you call back again, maybe next week or bi-weekly. Um, I like to let me answer your question more directly because you're probably talking about frequency, how often, and then how long, and what do I say? So frequency, you can tell a vibe. Like if somebody's really, really, really motivated, I'm probably gonna follow up every other day, and it's gonna be a different piece of value, and then eventually I'm gonna run out of value, and I'm gonna say, hey, good news, a house in your neighborhood just sold for 450,000. Thought you had to know, and then hang up the phone. Like I'm not there to talk forever, but they'll remember the good, funny. Here's the follow up system. Like, what's up, Gustavo? It's Tristen. I'm like, huh. I'm
Hey,
like,
how's it going, Tristan?
you don't remember me, do you? They're like, no, ha ha ha. Like,
Yeah.
okay, totally cool. Good news. All right, house in your neighborhood just sold for 450,000. Just thought you had to know. And they're like, oh man, I really appreciate it. That's so awesome. What? Tell me about the square footage. And they started asking all these questions. And after I finished answering all the questions, like, all right, dude, I gotta go. I just thought you had to know. I'm not there to talk. I want it to be like
Wow.
seconds per value. Like I want them to be like, wow, this guy, he's on it. He just value. He's not trying to get the listing. So then next week it still hasn't sold. Hey, good news. House in your neighborhood just went active for 400,000. Just thought you had to know. They're like, how's that good news? The last one sold for 450. Well, this one's a ranch and it's so much smaller. I thought you just had. Now they started asking questions like, all right, I gotta go. See ya. And so I'll just keep following up with another thing. Eventually you'll run out of neighborhood listings. So then you go to the city or you go to the school system. Like there's always another property to follow up with. And then maybe halfway through you find a new piece of value that you can provide.
I got you. So you're taking the temperature and you kind of adapt the follow-up plan because
Right.
the guy that took a year, you probably weren't calling him every other day, maybe checking in on a monthly basis because it was a little
Right.
bit different, right? I
Right. Totally.
got you. Okay, I absolutely love that. And so same question, but let's say someone you start off that isn't like a hand raising for a sell by owner seller, a circle prospect or a door knock, right? Like that's just you might get them at any point randomly in their life. What does that process, that conversion process look like? I mean, do you want to go meet them right away? Because they might be a year out from selling and they might be very upfront with you. No, I'm thinking about doing it next year. What's your approach there?
Okay. So the one that I closed on their sell and buy this month, called him. Funny enough, he actually hung up on me immediately. And so then I call him right back and I said, "Hey, did you hang up on me or did we get disconnected?" Kind of in a joking tone. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you were like some robo spam AI." And I was like, "No, this is a real person.
Oh,
I was like, I really do have a buyer for you. Have you considered selling?" He's like, "Actually, funny enough, my wife forced me to go look at some new construction this weekend." And I said, "Well, how about this? If she absolutely loves those new construction, then why don't I see if this buyer would work out and maybe it's a really good fit?" It just no confusion, real easy. Just like he's like, "Oh yeah, sure. Show up. Like, hey, look, if it works out with this buyer, this is what we can do. If it doesn't work out with this buyer and you still want to buy the new construction, this is what we can do to list it." And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool." So he signed a listing even if no matter what. And so then that's pretty easy. I've also had one been following up with since I don't know October when I started, circle prospecting via cold calls, and I told him that house in the neighborhood is just sold, and I have another buyer. He wasn't interested in selling, but stay in touch with me. He doesn't really have I was like, just in case you ever do want to do anything, do you have an agent in mind? He's like, yeah, my cousin, but he sucks. I don't want to use him. I was. He's like, you sound like a hustler on the phone, so I might honestly, I kind of appreciate it. And I was like, well, look, I have to go pick up my yard sign because it just closed. Can I at least just shake your hand on the way out? He's like, oh yeah, please do. So I went there. I was like, hey, what's up, man? I'm Tristen. Nice to meet you. I got to go, but I just want to, again, seconds per value. I'm not going to waste his time, my time. We're not going to small talk. Like, just keep going. He appreciated it. He loved it. A month later, he refers me to his friend his house is actually active now. I guess it was like 2 or 3 months later that he refers me to a friend and it's active right now.
so you made an impression. You haven't listed his home. I actually work with him. The guy's like, hey, if you're going to sell, you should talk to this guy because those
100%.
couple interactions impressed me enough that I want to refer him to somebody. Wow,
Yep.
not the cousin.
Not
Like,
a
no, the
cousin.
cousin
No,
sucks.
it is not like the
That's
cousin.
awesome.
So yeah, then he refers me out to him, and he'll have to sell, and then he'll have to buy. And I still follow up with him. I say, hey, a house in your neighborhood just sold. It's always that, like a house in your neighborhood, a house in your city, a house in your school system, something has happened, either active, under contract, or closed. One of those, you literally never run out of things to follow up with. And then
I got you, 100%.
eventually they get to the point where they're like kind of friends with you, and then you don't have to be like, hey, a house just sold. You're like, yo, what's up, man? You doing good? Tell me about your kid. I saw that you're pregnant on Facebook and this, and he's like, oh, that's cool. But like, anyways, I gotta go. You have a good day. Because like for them, they don't want to sit on the phone with some guy they don't really know, right? Like they will, but they don't want to. And then also you have so many more follow-ups to do. And then you never want to be the guy that just sits on the phone long enough waiting for them to say, can you come list my property? Like, no. Like just next one, next one, next one.
I got you. And they'll come to you eventually. Or they'll either tell you or they'll literally just call you back one day. Hey, you know what, Tristan, we're ready to go.
Yeah, circle prospecting it's been that's been a weird learning curve because FSBOs are so like I am going to sell, I'm raising my
Yeah,
hand to sell, and circle
correct.
prospecting you have got to be really good at feeling the temperature, feeling the vibes, and the door knocking. That one's more. I love door knocking, and I don't actually love doing it, but like the idea, like face to face, it's very y'all know Jeremy Davis type style. He's an incredible door knocker, and he is I used to door knock and say, "Hey, I have the open house. Have you thought about coming to the open house? Please come to the open house. It's the best open house ever. Like whatever it is, don't pitch them." And then after it sells, I say, "Hey, it's sold. I had multiple buyers. Can I send them your way?" And I'm telling you, every time I do that, and if I door knock them for the open house and the just sold, somebody in the neighborhood's going to want to sell. So then they're like, "Yeah, I do." And so then I ended up doing it again and said, "Hey, look, open house." And then I door knocked the whole neighborhood again after it closed, and I got another listing from it. And I did like it just keeps chain reacting.
Every
So
time. Every
now
time.
what I'll end up
100%.
doing with a door knocking is the same pitch. Like, hey, did any of your neighbors say I was going to stop by? They're like, no. Be like, yeah, totally get it. The market's kind of nuts right now. Have you thought about buying, selling, or investing? And they're like, No, we're like, oh yeah, totally cool. Is it safe to assume you're gonna live here for the rest of your life? And they're like, well, no, not the rest of my life. Like I'm gonna be moving to like you think it's gonna be the next like year or two, or like we talking like 10, 20, 30 years out? Like 2 or 3 years. Oh, yeah, just curious. What's important about 2 or 3 years? Oh, the interest rates. Okay, now you know exactly why they're not moving. Like, oh,
Makes sense.
so if interest rates were 4%, like you're ready to rock and roll. They're like, oh yeah, yeah. Be like, okay, cool. Curious. Have you ever heard of a 2-1 buy down? Like then you can you start to really you can see their body language. You can see if they're really excited to buy. If they are excited to buy, let's get them in a house tomorrow. Let's go show them some houses. If not, then just put them on the follow up and hit them with a circle prospecting. Hey, house just sold for 450. You're getting closer to your number. Eventually, they'll want to sell.
I got you. So, it's not just asking them, do you want to buy or sell? Like you're actually, you've got a script. You got some questions you want to ask, some probing questions. You're trying to figure out what's the motivation. If it's not, they're going to be there forever. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Move on to the next door, right? Talk to the next person and just having conversation with folks and you come prepared. Like, you know what they're going to say. There's not a million things they can possibly
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Like, where are they at? And what's their motivation? What's really driving them to either look for a new place or relocate or whatever? I absolutely love that. So, next question. We're almost out of time. I want to be respectful here, Tristen, but I'm curious because when I talk to a lot of agents, across the country, U.S., Canada, there's a consistent issue with a lot of them, right? And it can be a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of worry about interest rates, about the economy, about the market is flat, the market is down, days on the market it's going up, property is getting harder to sell. And I find that those concerns, again, they're not making stuff up. That's real. I mean, yeah, the market's down 30% from 2021, right? I mean, that's a real number. I agree with that. That's not fake. But I find that worry and that anxiety stops them from talking to buyers and sellers. They convince themselves, that's a script they're saying to themselves.
Yeah.
They convince themselves that it's not worth making the call, that it's not worth making the effort, because who is going to buy with 7% interest rates? Tristen, has that news, that environment affected you at all? It doesn't seem like it has, but is that ever in the back of your mind? Does it matter? Does it not matter? How do you process that information that interest rates are way higher than they were a few years ago, that the market is different from a few years ago?
So I have a very logical, practical answer, and then I have a spiritual answer. So when I had first started, again, I knew nothing about. I didn't even know what a real estate agent did. Right. So I there's one proverb that I swear I just lived on. Diligent hands make profit. And like it doesn't say like diligent hands sometimes make profit or diligent hands like on occasion will make profit. Like maybe some profit, but not a ton. Or maybe diligent hands make profit. It's a promise. So it's like, well, if I do the work every single day, like I'm gonna make money. Like it's literally a spiritual promise. So I was like, okay, well, that's all I need to know. The other thing is that now here's the logical answer. Like maybe spiritual is not your logical answer is who is for sure going to move? Okay, divorce, relocation, family death. I mean, there's few people. What's the 4 Ds? It's like diamond. You just got married.
Deployment,
Yeah, it's, deployment, diploma, death, divorce, diamond, like
diapers. Yeah,
diapers. Yeah, yeah. So like all these people are for sure going to move. Like eventually
yeah.
somebody. And so like that's just enough to be like, okay, that's enough. Second thing is, why are people not buying? Well, figure it out why. Like, if it is interest rates, well, what about the interest rates? Is it the monthly payment? Is it the down payment? Like, you just don't want to pay interest rate? Like, what is it? And oh, it's just too high. Like, what makes it too high? Is it the debt? Is it the monthly payment? So if the payment made sense, no matter what, the interest rate could be 100,000%. But if you could get $1 million house for $100 a month, are you gonna buy it? Like, yeah, okay. So it's not the interest rate; it's just the payment, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, all right. So if the payment made sense, is there anything else stopping you from moving forward? No, I'm ready to. I want to move. I just the interest rate suck. Oh, okay. Well then, have you ever heard of a 2-1 buy now? I'm like, what's that? Like now we can go into that script. And so like sometimes people don't know how to like coach or like educate or train the buyers into why now's a good time to buy.
I gotcha. And you mentioned the most important thing, because no one. So this is for the audience, right? Because I know Tristen already gets this. No one grabs their finger and says, interest rates seem good to buy today, right? No, no, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
ow, interest rates are this numbers, then I should probably buy a home. That's not how it works, right? people, it's the 6 Ds. Ultimately, it's about that. That is the reason they want to either buy or sell. That is the reason, right? Interest rates are just one of the things they have to overcome. They have to overcome a lot of objections, a lot of doubt, a lot of issues, right? A lot of constraints. They absolutely do, right? They have to figure out their budget. Can they find something in their budget? Is it worth all these things for sure? But interest rates is not a motivating factor. Okay.
No.
It is not, it is something you have to overcome 100%. And some people might like the solution with the interest rate. Some people might not like the solution with the interest rate. But
Right.
interest rate is not a reason someone buys or sells. It's just not, right? So you have to focus on finding people that have one of the 6 Ds and do your job. Help them buy or sell given the current constraints. Given the current constraints, right? Because you've found someone with an actual motivation. So be that consultant, be that facilitator, right? Because that's our job, actually, right? That's what we should be doing. Finding people that are actually motivated to buy or sell and figure it out. If you're caught stuck with someone trying to convince them that 7% interest rates are great, doesn't matter. I think that's a losing conversation. I really do. Like telling them 10% doesn't matter. I don't, actually it does matter, but that's not their motivation to sell. That's not their motivation to sell. Find a solution. Give them solutions to their problem, and then they might actually get moving, right? So anyways, I love that. Appreciate it. Tristen, this has been a joy, man. This has been pure
Yeah.
joy because I love talking to people that are doing this at the highest level. You're a really young guy. You're very early in your career. So I can't wait to see what you're going to do later. You're open invitation. You're welcome to come back on the show and talk about what you're doing next because, you're just getting started, man. You're just getting started. I think you've got some really scalable, really great lead sources already. So actually, that's a final question here. What does your team look now, and where do you want to be a year from now? Short term, where do you think you're going to be a year from now? What is your team? Because everything you've mentioned sounds like you're a solo agent, 100%. Is there anyone supporting you? Anyone helping you out? And where do you want to be a year from now?
Yeah. So my coach, he always says the same famous lines. You need someone to give you a hand up, you need someone to chase, and you need someone to give a hand down too. So he's my coach. Someone to give me a hand up. Someone to chase is also kind of a business partner in a sense. And so she does like 50 plus transactions a year. And so it's like, that's my chase. And then someone to give a hand down too. And that's the other agent. So I'm a completely solo. I have a TC that does contract to close. By the way, I don't know how to do contract to close. Never have, never will. Don't want to. I've always paid that out. But I have a TC and then solo. I mean, everything else is solo, becoming more efficient. I'll refer out some buyers 50-50 splits, like as a I do showing agents sometimes. I sometimes don't believe in the team model, honestly, but I do help other people. I do like the idea of helping other people grow the business that they want. And so that's like the people that I coach, like they're not on my team. Like they are because like we all kind of work, we hang out in person and on Zoom and stuff, and we go to events together, but I help them grow the business that they want. Maybe it is a team, maybe they don't want a team, maybe they want to do 100 transactions, maybe it's 10. I mean, like whatever I can do to help.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Tristen. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the candor, willingness to share. I'm a true believer when you're willing to share, and help other people be great. I think it comes back to you 10x. I've always been a big believer on that, coming from contribution. So I appreciate you, and I wish you a ton of success. All right.
Oh, can I actually shout something out?
Oh, go for it. Go for it. 100%.
Yeah. So every Thursday, I host a call. It's called Sales Dogs. It's literally just a call about helping people be better at sales and becoming more efficient at sales and growing that skill. It's 10:30 to 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Broker agnostic. We don't talk about brokerages. None of that's allowed to be taught. It's literally just about sales. You can role play with me. You have a different, how do I generate a lead, convert a lead, or convert a lead for more money? Or you listen to me cold call, whatever it is, it's every single Thursday.
I love that. And what is the best way to reach out to you? Learn more about that and learn more about
Oh,
anything you're doing.
that's a good one. Maybe my phone number.
Go for it. Drop it.
Okay. 770-519-8145. I feel like everyone gives out their phone number, but you're like scared to actually text them. Like you can actually just text me. Like I will actually just reply. I'm pretty cool about it. Or I'll call you. Most of them might call you. I'm like, yo, what's up? This is Tristen. Like, I think it's cool. So that's probably the best way.
All right. Awesome. Tristen, thank you so much, man.
See you, Gustavo.